Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and this could be the most bullish week ever in crypto. If we get stablecoin legislation, it is on like Donkey Kong, folks. And I've heard rumors that we could see it today or sometime this week, and the vote could pass. We're going to find out. Reminder, if you haven't joined yet, go to my Patreon, join at daixrp.com, or you can click the join button below any of my YouTube videos. We have a lot to cover in this video, and in the group you'll get no commercials, and you'll get the video and the extended video. This is something everybody needs to be paying attention to right now, folks. Everybody I talk to, there's a ramp up in all these phishing attacks and hacks going on. This is because they can, it's probably one of the more bullish indicators as far as the price is going up. These hackers are more aggressive now than I've seen them in a long time. This includes phishing, sending you the emails, trying to get you to click on a link. It includes, this one is called clone phishing. Scammers replicate an email you've received, but include a dangerous attachment link. This is where whaling is scammers target high-ranking executives to gain access to sensitive data or money. And then pop-up phishing. This one right here is really scary. These guys can literally, if you click on the wrong thing, they can embed something in your browser and then program it and tell the browser that if you go type in any of these major exchanges, to immediately generate a pop-up that looks like it's coming from the exchange. So even pop-ups, never click on anything. You should go and you should type in your exchange. You should type it into your browser. Don't go to Google and search it and then click a link. Always type in the browser. But if you want to do what I'm doing and avoid all of this, I have an actual broker at Caleb & Brown, my affiliate partner. I have a broker I have talked to, and I've said, I don't want anything to happen in my account unless you talk to me, and preferably on a Zoom call with me. I also get institutional grade custody. I get to sleep very well at night, and I get liquidity that will actually help me exit when the time comes. If you'd like to open your own account, go to xrpwealth589.com, and I've set it so that it'll forward you to my Caleb & Brown link on their page. Click sign up today. Guess who's coming to XRP Las Vegas? Today, the CME group went live with XRP futures. Miguel Valles, if you remember, was head of XRP markets at Ripple. But look where he was before he was head of XRP markets. Senior Director, Global Head of Precious Metals and Metals Options at the CME Group, which is also an investor in Ripple. Small world, huh? Now, he'll be at XRP Las Vegas on stage, and hopefully we can get him to talk a little bit about XRP and his experience with Ripple. We shall see. Go to xrplasvegas.com to get your tickets. 10 days out, folks. We've got the market pulled back a little bit, and I'll show you why. XRP's at 232. The reason it pulled back is because of the Moody's downgrades, and then the stock market, starts showing indications the market's going to go down and everything kind of goes down. But look at this tweet right here. Bostic, downgrade will have implications for cost of capital. Could ripple through economy. It immediately reminded me of this clip of Chris Larson at Money 2020 a few years back.
Is 10 years out on the financial crisis. We still don't have the infrastructure perhaps to prevent the next one. And I think this is where digital assets can really help, because an efficient digital asset can really solve some of the key problems in global liquidity. The world's got trillions and trillions of dollars tied up in liquidity just to get around how clunky the movement of value is around the world. If with a really efficient digital asset, something like XRP, again, that's what we believe will be the most efficient, you can now reduce trillions and trillions of capital from being tied up. So you can make those transfers instantly as a bank or as a payment provider or as an enterprise without having to have money pre-positioned all over the world. So that.
Okay. And then we had this from Morgan Stanley Chief Investment Officer Mike Wilson sees U.S. stocks sell off after Moody's downgrade as a buying opportunity. I see it as a crypto buying opportunity. Modern Investor says crypto is slightly down right now because of the U.S. AAA rating downgrade. Asia stocks reeling after Japanese rates. Treasury spiking to their highest in 30 years on the rating drop. Confusion around tariffs and sales slow in China despite hefty QE from the country. And then we've got this just in Japan's prompt. Now, where's XRP bigger than anywhere in Japan? Japan's prime minister says his country's financial situation is worse than that of Greece. Reasons why: debt to GDP over 260%, aging population, shrinking birth rate, decades of stimulus have led to long-term economic stagnation. Rising interest rates are making debt payments unsustainable. Look what somebody put down in the comment. Tether, U.S. Treasury holdings are on track to surpass Germany. And I said, does anyone still think it's a coincidence? Tether has been allowed to become a large holder of U.S. Treasuries. Offshore prototyping. This is not hard to figure out, folks. And no, it's not. The Genius Act is about, this is Bo Hines from, I always forget his title, Executive Director, President's Council of Advisors for Digital Assets. Genius Act is about securing the future of American finance. Stablecoins strengthen U.S. dollar dominance, modernize our outdated payment rails, and give Americans faster, cheaper, and more transparent ways to move money. Digital asset technology is the next generation of finance. The United States is ready to lead. And then there's this from Zero Hedge. It's genius. Deutsche Bank outlines stablecoins' role in ensuring U.S. dollar supremacy. And I said, crypto was created to underpin the U.S. dollar and transition to petrodollar 2.0. If you still believe crypto was hatched by some libertarian good guy who just doesn't want to make money off his Bitcoin stash, I need to start manufacturing summer igloos in South Georgia because you'd be the perfect buyer. This is all by design, folks. Now, you need to see this. I can't remember her name, but she's one of these Bitcoin maxi types. But she says something here that everybody in the XRP community has been talking about for years. So first I've got her clip. She said it in a recent interview. Then I put in a Judy Shelton clip. Then I put in a clip from Brad Combs at Ripple Swell Singapore 2019 asking a question. And then I've got a clip from Chris Larson. And you need to soak it all in, because we've been right all along. We've been directly over the target, and we're now watching things unfold in real time.
But this accelerates that in many cases. So I think that we are seeing a return toward neutral reserve assets as a significant holding of central bank assets. So basically, in a world where the biggest bond markets are prone to persistent debasement with lower interest rates, and in a world where they can be confiscated, gold in the central bank's own self-custody is attractive as a sovereign asset. Around the margins, Bitcoin's interesting. It's only a $2 trillion asset, so it's like a tenth of the size of the gold market. It's more volatile. It's only 16 years old, but among some smaller countries, Bhutan, El Salvador, it's interesting to them. It's also a trading mechanism for countries that are sanctioned. It's an open source settlement mechanism that they can turn to, and so I do think we're seeing a upshift in the appreciation of neutral reserve assets, which, going back to that Stephen Myron paper, he called that out. He said basically, if we make the treasury less attractive as a reserve holding to make the dollar less overvalued, then it's probably, this could benefit some other currencies, but it'll probably primarily benefit neutral reserve assets. And he mentions gold and cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin being by far the dominant one. And so I think that's the world we're going in, a more multipolar world that is then tied together with some of these neutral reserve assets.
I think we need another Bretton Woods, or at least we need to be thinking in terms of a neutral reference point, a global unit of account. I mean, something like a gold standard, even updated to reflect a digital world and fast-moving financial flows.
Hi, my name is Bradley Kimes from Investment Perspectives and Cryptonaires documentary. I wanted to ask a question about globalization. If you could talk about the idea of the old concept of the banker coin and a neutral asset being in place of a global reserve status of the dollar, and possibly that being XRP.
What you're asking for is whether there's a possibility of a global currency, and to some extent that's what Libra was trying to do. And as I understand it, that's different from what XRP is trying to do. And the reason is as follows. As soon as you go to maintaining the value, right, some kind of stable coin, a whole set of regulatory concerns get triggered. I have to make sure that there is corresponding financial or real assets backing this notional value that they seek to maintain. That looks a lot more like a bank, right? Because you're promising some claims which are fixed, and that requires regulation for reasons I just talked about.
Yeah, so our view is that these digital assets really become supplemental to the existing family of currencies, right? So every country still needs its own, fiat currency for all kinds of reasons that I won't get into it. Very complicated, right? And I actually think that the big four, the yen, the euro, the dollar, the RMB, they actually, I think, come stronger in this world that we're going into, partially because of digital assets. Okay. That these digital assets actually contribute to a world that's more interoperable, where more people around the globe can get access to these big four. And most of global commerce is done in the big four. So I think you have a bifurcation going on. Those big four get stronger. I think some of the smaller currencies, maybe even more of the very small fiat currencies, become less relevant, maybe even disappear. A country could have its own fiat, but still use one of the big four. Like Montenegro. Right. Absolutely. But I think then where the digital assets fit in, like things like XRP and Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're kind of in that mid-range. They become, I think, like the Singapore dollar or the Swiss franc, and they become useful in, kind of lubricating the world to make it easier for those big four to get in the hands of people all around the world. So that's useful. And there might also be things like applications and devices that maybe primarily use one of those digital assets. So that's kind of the view we have. So I think in that world, countries should be less threatened by what's going on.
Writing's on the wall, folks. I'll play this video. This is what we're in the midst of, folks. This was from a few years back.
What underpins a world order is always the financial system. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private, but what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. The Chinese were the first. The US is on the brink, I think, of moving in the same direction. The Europeans have committed to that as well.
Very obvious what's coming. Now, folks, I got Ripple news. I got a lot more to cover, so we're going to go ahead and go in the group. Go to DAIXRP.com to join the Patreon, or click the join button below any of my YouTube videos if you want to join and you want to get the full video plus the extended video with no commercials. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.